population development at Felpro, a family-owned and operated global auto parts manufacturer. For another 10 years, she worked closely with upcoming family business successors at the Next Generation Leadership Institute, part of Loyola University Chicago Family Business Center. She founded and facilitated Loyola's first peer advisory group for women and is co-author of A Woman's Place, The Crucial Roles of Women in Family Business. She has presented extensively on the national and international stage, and we are delighted to have her here today. She's going to help us understand how we manage business dilemmas that can't be solved. Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Schuman.
Thank you. Thank you and good morning. And I just, if I stand or speak in a way that people at either side of the room can't hear, will you just wave at me and I'll correct. I'm so pleased to be here this morning, and I'm so pleased that so many of you, that's forward, right? Okay, thank you. Have chosen to spend the early part of your day with us here at SBSU. Thank you very much. And as we're watching people stream in and making extra handouts and extra tables, I'm fairly certain that I would be honored to think that I was the draw, but I have a feeling it's the title of this speech this morning that was a big draw for people. Managing family business and dilemmas that can't be solved. And the fact of the matter is that family businesses, by their very nature, are faced with what seems to be an unsolvable dilemma. And that dilemma has to do with family and business. And family businesses that find a way to honor both the needs and the goals of their family and of their business have the opportunity to develop unbelievable strength as family businesses, as individual businesses, as individual families. And anybody that's sitting in this room that has had the opportunity to sit in a room with family members or with business colleagues and try and work out what appears to be two conflicting systems, with what appears to be two conflicting sets of goals, knows what I'm talking about. Because all firms across the country, and certainly in this day and age, are facing tremendous challenges. But family firms are faced with a very special set of challenges that many of us in this room are very, very intimately knowledgeable about. And it's my hypothesis that in successfully mastering these dilemmas, which are represented most basically by the conflict, the apparent conflict between family goals and business goals, when enterprises step up to the plate on that challenge and are successful in mastering that challenge, they develop a level of resiliency, adaptability, and strength as a business that then flows over to other parts of the business and makes them an even more formidable competitor in the marketplace. And so what we're going to talk about today is what are these dilemmas? What are, I like to call them, I like to think of them as polarities or paradoxes, where you have two needs that are both virtuous. How do we go forward down a path that honors the needs of two apparently conflicting sets of options? And we're going to talk about this all throughout the morning. But my hypothesis is that as family businesses master these dilemmas, they become really extra strong. So I want to start this morning with a love letter to family businesses. And I just want you to think to yourself, do you think that family businesses are better performers overall than public companies, or weaker performers overall than public companies? Better. Why do you think better? Are you referring to data, or are you referring to just a gut feeling? Aren't family businesses just kind of full of unqualified family members that are just on the dole and coming in late and leaving early and never finished business school, and they're only there because they're the daughter or the son of the owners? Is that your experience as family businesses? Excuse me, I'm going to cough. Okay. All right. Well, the research shows that those family businesses that survive across the generations outperform non-family businesses, and I'm going to show you some data on this. And I just have kind of a couple of slides that just summarize the data, and I'm definitely not going to go into this in detail because it's not our major topic. But part of my hypothesis is that one of the sources of competitive advantage for businesses is their ability to manage the both and not get stuck in an either or mentality. So we see here just a whole collection of data that the return on invested capital is superior in family businesses, according to John Ward. The Anderson-Reed study talks about 5 to 10% more profitable than the S&P 500. And I have to admit, these data are all pre the most recent downturn. So we're going to have to update this data to incorporate the most recent downturn. But we may actually find that family businesses are doing better in this tough economy than public companies. Data yet, but we'll be looking at it. So there's a whole slew of data that shows you the superior performance of family businesses economically. And then if we look a little more subjectively beyond the numbers, how do people feel when they're working in family businesses? You can look at many, many ways in which, this is some informal research that John Ward has done with his clients and in his speeches and at the Kellogg School. You can see that those involved with family businesses do not believe that their family business underinvests in the future. What I want to highlight are the bottom ones. So we see non-family businesses, 68% of those working in non-family businesses believe that the future will be better than the past. So they're optimistic about their future. And at the same time, 21% of the, 90% of family businesses believe that the future will be better than the past versus non-family businesses, where 68% have that belief. But 75% of family businesses actively promote the past. Is this, how can you both feel optimistic and focused on the future and actively promote the past? Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? This is kind of an example of a both and. Some people are nodding their heads, yes, what's the big deal? Of course we can focus on the future and actively promote the past. In a way, family businesses are experts at looking towards the future and actively promoting the past. But that's a tremendous cultural skill for any business. Think about it. Think about the strength that you have as a business when you can both look optimistically to the future and actively promote the past. Bring the legacy, the history, the values, the pride, the accomplishment of the past. So in my mind, this is one of our first examples of what we call polarities or dilemmas that might on the surface look like they are in conflict, but in fact are complementary to each other. So we see, this is a little bit old, but from, I believe it's, is it Fortune? Just looking at the family factor internationally, family businesses outperforming public companies. And then we might ask, why do we see data that shows us that family businesses outperform public companies? And these would be some of our hypotheses that we might offer, that they've got a very clear purpose. They want to perpetuate themselves into the future for the benefit of their family as well as their communities and employees. And we also know that family businesses have very unconventional strategies. They don't do things the way that most companies do them. They make decisions that often appear illogical. For example, when you think about a contrarian or an unconventional strategy, how many of us know a family business? For example, I have a client on the East Coast. They have 5 siblings. So how many outlets do they have for their business? 5, obviously. Now, if you talk to a strategic planner, they might say, that doesn't make it. Why would you assume that 5 retail outlets is the right number of outlets for this particular business to have? Well, for the family, it's perfectly logical. Of course we'll have 5 outlets. We have 5 children. Okay? Does that strategy work? It often works very, very well. Now, does that strategy present problems? Yes. If you're going to have 5 outlets, who gets the biggest one? Who gets the oldest one? Who gets the one in the most growing neighborhood? Who gets the one in the neighborhood that seems to be running down a little bit? And it just got very dark in here. Let's not make it too dark. So anyway. So we find that family businesses have the courage to have contrarian strategies. and this is part of the reason for their success.